What a day today turned out to be. What a beautiful Friday. I woke up feeling a little bit sick, not feeling my best, but how could I not be buzzing right now? How could I not be on cloud nine? We hit 500 subscribers on the channel. Micah Parsons doesn't want to be a Dallas Cowboy, and the Commanders just got approved to move back to Washington, D.C. They will be playing their football at the old RFK Stadium site. What is there to be disappointed about right now? It's the weekend. I don't care that it's raining outside. It's Saturday tomorrow, but I don't even know how I'm going to go to sleep tonight. This is some of the best news that we have gotten in who knows how long since we made the championship game. And amid all this drama over the Terry McLaurin holdout, I'm sure that's going to start to rear its ugly head in a couple of days. But right now, who cares about that? We can rejoice in the Cowboys being the total disaster show that they always have been. And we can rejoice in the fact that we don't have to drive an hour, ride the metro for an hour and a half, and then walk a mile and a half to get to the Commander Stadium. No, hop on the metro, get to Stadium Armory, a little 10-minute metro ride if you're anywhere near DC, and you are right there at the game. This is unbelievable. Guys, my name is Grant Mitchell. Welcome back to the Full Command Show. If you are new here, then you don't know. If you're a returning visitor, you do know. We are here to talk about everything involving the Washington Commanders. I'm so excited, I just messed up my own intro. I don't know how that's not muscle memory at this point. Guys, it is a big day, as I have mentioned already. We are going to get into everything involving the Micah Parsons trade demand. That's right, trade demand. Says he does not want to be in Dallas. There's no ifs, ands, or maybes. He does not want to be there. We're going to talk about this new stadium deal. But before we get into all of that, guys, you have been unreal. The support that I've gotten on this channel so far has just been incredible. I'm so humbled, so taken aback at your support of me and the channel. If you guys are returning visitors, then welcome back. If you're new here, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button because it's not just about me. This is a community we're building. I value everyone's feedback. Even if you disagree with me, I'm trying to respond to as many comments as I possibly can. So as we go through this, whether it's my opinion, whether it's a fact that I'm reporting, go to the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. And again, I will try to engage with as many people as I possibly can. Also, if you want to help me out, if you're happy that the stadium's coming back to DC, if you hate the Cowboys, if you love Michael Parsons, hit the like button. Doing that really helps me push this video out into the YouTube algorithms, and it's a big reason why we've been so successful on these videos so far. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's start with the stadium deal, because as funny as the Micah stuff is, he is still a Cowboy, and I want to keep it on Commanders news first. So, it's official. The DC City Council had its vote today. They voted 9-3 in approval of the Commanders Stadium plan to return to the RFK site. Now, there will be a follow-up vote from this council in September, but it's the same members. And it seems like a formality at this point, because originally there was a 9-4 vote against the plan. Josh Harris met with Phil Mendelson, the chairman of the city council. They hashed out some agreements. They come back and they get the 9-3 approval vote. All that's got to happen is just keep everything where it is. And when that vote comes in September, it will be official. The Commanders will be officially moving back to the RFK site. Again, getting so excited here that I'm having trouble with my words. Okay, let me give you some information about what you can expect from this new stadium as I try to slow down my breathing a little bit and take a little bit of a chill pill. You're going to get a 65,000-seat roofed arena at the old RFK site. Yes, it's not going to be an 80 or 90,000 seat mammoth, but 65,000, believe that's right about what the capacity is over at Northwest right now. I would assume also if things go well, there's going to be an ability to expand. I don't know how that would work with the roof. Maybe the roof is going to be retractable and they can open up. I don't know. But it is a roofed arena, which is going to be freaking awesome. Even though I love some snow football, I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. The Commanders will invest $2.7 billion into the project. DC will pay the remaining $1.1 billion. The majority of that will be going to remaining infrastructure builds and parking. There will be parking garages, at least 2, potentially 3. Big there. Even though there's going to be less parking than there's currently at Northwest, I would assume the foot travel and the metro travel will probably increase because it is in the heart of DC. Also included in these plans, aside from the stadium, are 6,000 housing units. That's big. Retail stores, bars, and restaurants that will go around the stadium on its complex. Parking garages, as I mentioned, green space, and park space. On top of that, to get the deal over the line, the Commanders pledged to invest $50 million into community benefits, and there will be $600 million when it's all said and done that is put into a transit fund. Originally, that was going to go to the DC General Fund. Actually, I take that back. I believe it was going into a stadium reinvestment fund, but it's now going to a transit fund. The Commanders agreed to use 51% local union labor. That's big. If you work in that industry or you're in need of a job, you got something to be excited about coming your way. DC will get some sales tax from the surrounding areas, and they will get parking tax. Surrounding areas meaning some of the retail stores and on the campus. The Commanders will also pay for cost overflows. So there's a projected total of about $3.8 billion. If it goes over that, the Commanders will handle it, which was massive for getting this deal over the line. And it's a testament to Josh Harris really doing anything he possibly could to get this stadium deal over the line. And yes, there will be benefits for him because you're going to get Beyonce to have some concerts there. You're going to get to host a Super Bowl. We already know the NFL draft's going to be here. It will have benefits for Josh Harris. But he didn't need to do this. He didn't need to agree to pay more, to invest more into the community, to agree to pay for cost overflows. He did not have to do that. But he did it to get it over the line, and I am so incredibly appreciative. I don't know if this is good karma for the Commanders fan base because of that tyrant that we had to put up with named Daniel Snyder. I don't even want to make his name sound cool with Daniel. But Josh Harris coming here, he's just been a godsend, and I'm so thankful. This is a statement that was released by Josh Harris, who is the official Commanders managing partner, if you want to know his official title. This was his statement he released after the vote was approved. Today's approval by the council is transformational for DC and brings the Commanders back to our spiritual home. Boom, spiritual home. I'm young enough to the point that I never got to go watch a game at RFK. That doesn't mean that I'm not familiar with the tradition and the lore and what happened in that stadium. And when I hear former players talk about the magic that was the theater that was playing in RFK, I cannot wait to be there. Picking back up here. Like many fans, RFK was the site of memories that fueled my love for this team and this city. Now we're closer than ever to reigniting that energy for a new generation. True, Josh Harris grew up as a Commanders fan. We're incredibly grateful to the mayor and the council throughout this process for their leadership and guidance. This is a historic moment. This project is about more than delivering a world-class stadium worthy of our players, fans, and the region. It's about revitalizing a critical part of our city, creating thousands of jobs and unlocking long-term economic benefits for the district. We look forward to working with our fans, residents, community leaders, and elected officials to deliver on this vision. I am shocked I was able to read that so well because I just have the picture pulled up. I didn't actually type it out, and it's in like size 6 font on my laptop. So I can't believe I got through that in basically one take. I am over the moon. I had a feeling this was going to happen when Josh Harris when the team really started to make that social media push, and you got like Joe Theismann and Doug Williams involved, and it's a social media campaign. I thought that was kind of the signal that the deal was going to happen, even if it hadn't been approved. Was I a little worried about the first setback? Yes. But with what I've seen from this owner and this team and just this new era of the Commanders over the last year and a half, 2 years, I was confident they were going to get it done. And again, there's still a follow-up in September, but it's the same council. And all they've got to do is just keep the votes where they are. Even if they lose a couple, they just need a majority. There are 13 people on the council. I don't know how the vote was 9-3 today. I don't know if there was an abstention. Someone was sick and didn't show up. I'm not clear on that part. But even if it's 9-4, then you go 8-5, 7-6, the deal still gets approved. So fingers crossed none of that happens. Would love for it to be 12-0, 13-0, whatever the final count is. But man, I'm excited. Just think about 4.5 years from now, the Commanders in their Super Bowl window. Jaden Daniels has already won the MVP. Maybe the Commanders are hosting the Super Bowl at that point. Maybe like 2031, 2032. and it's in the stadium right on the Anacostia. You just hop on the metro, get off at Stadium Armory, whether you're on the blue line, the orange line, the silver line, and bam, you're right there. It's going to be so cool, man. Even while the stadium is being built and you can't go in, I'm sure there's going to be locals who just fly their drone in and just go take a look at it. I cannot wait. The stadium renderings look unbelievable, and I'm sure those are only going to get more refined now. I'm sure we're going to see actual images of what the specific sections of the stadium will look like, what the concourse will look like, the stores and all that stuff is going to be so cool. I can't wait. Speaking of things that are really cool, all those NFC East fans, the Cowboys fans specifically, who wanted to make fun of Terry McLaurin requesting a trade. Well, what's the phrase? The what comes home to roost? The chickens come home to roost? I'm not country at all, so I don't know what the phrase is, but hey, the stuff you were throwing out there came back on your doorstep. Micah Parsons has officially requested a trade. And before I tell you about all the details that go into that, let me just start with a little, hey, Micah. Baby. Micah Parsons, let's make a deal. I know you love Dan Quinn. I know you love Joe Witt Jr. What's the best way to stick it to the Cowboys? You got it. Go win a Super Bowl with their arch rivals. I really hope the light from my studio lights was not shining right back in the camera. Oh, I'm looking at it right now. It may have been. I hope I didn't blind anybody. That was my attempt at being funny. Hopefully it worked. Hopefully I got a chuckle out of you. Micah Parsons released a statement on Twitter. This was a couple hours after reports broke that he did not want to be in Dallas. He had requested a trade. I have a Cowboys friend who's like, oh, who's the source? I haven't heard anything about this. And I was like, I don't know. Diana Rossini's kind of plugged in. She's like one of the best reporters at The Athletic. And lo and behold, Mike Parsons goes on Twitter, posts some screenshots from his notes app, and the caption is simply, "Thank you, Dallas." That is what a player says when they transfer from a college or they decommit. Thank you, Alabama. Thank you, Ole Miss. Thank you, UCLA. Thank you, Dallas. He's out of there. Now, he might still play more games for them. Let's be honest. The Joneses, they love to drag these contract negotiations out. They did it with Dak. They did it with CD. CD's already on Twitter campaigning for the Cowboys to pay him. Meanwhile, you've got Dez Bryant, one of the Cowboys' all-time legends, saying, Micah, you are doing the right thing. Teams, and the Cowboys specifically, have gotten away with this for far too long. You know, they played this game with Dak, and Dak is a company man who wants to keep his nose out of controversy. CD put up a firm fight, but he didn't burn any bridges. He was stern, but he was not vocal in public. Micah, with his podcast, they should have seen this coming for a long time. And even though Micah's making a stink, I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. Because, look, this is very different from the Terry McLaurin situation. Terry was already making $23 million. He'd already gotten a contract in the NFL. They're arguing about the difference between $25 to $30 million. With Micah, he's on his rookie deal. Because the team triggered his club option for a fifth year, he's going to make $24 million this year. But his rookie deal on average, what was he making up until that point? About $5 million a year? Matter of fact, I have it right here. His base salary in his first year was $660,000. He had a 4-year, $17 million deal. Now we're talking about potentially playing for $40 million a year. So Terry McLaurin, who's already gotten an NFL contract, a second NFL contract in his age 30 season, we're talking about the difference of $25 to $30 million. With Micah, this is his first real big money opportunity. He is, how old is he? 26 years old. And he's going to be going not from a $5 million difference, from like a $36 million a year difference. There is huge money at play here. So Micah, I support him in doing what he is doing right here. So Micah, in his note that he did post on Twitter, revealed some of the interactions between him and the Cowboys behind the scenes. He said that he wanted an extension before the 2024 season. His agent warned him, said, hey, Micah, don't do that. If you wait longer, The other guys like Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, they're going to get their contracts, and then you can ask for more than them. You're going to have leverage over the team. Micah said, I don't care. I just want to be in Dallas. I don't care if I have to accept less money. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if any of this is true. But I don't have a reason to doubt him right now. He said he went to the Cowboys. The Cowboys told him to wait. It's not necessary to do it right now. That part I fully believe because, again, they did it with Dak. They did it with CD. Don't know why they did it. It would be cheaper for them to have got it done sooner, but they didn't. Then, over this offseason, Micah went in for a meeting. I think he had broached the idea of a contract. They shut it down. He went in for what was supposed to be a leadership meeting. He said this was with Mr. Jones. Later in his note, he referred to Stephen Jones as Stephen, so I'm going to assume Mr. Jones is Jerry Jones, but I can't say that definitively. But he says that he went for what started with as a leadership meeting with Mr. Jones. About halfway through, it turned into some general contract talks like, hey, what are you looking for, yada, yada. Micah then went back and told his agent to get in contact with the Cowboys and the general things they had discussed. His agent contacted the Cowboys. The Cowboys told him they weren't going to talk to him, and they'd basically already reached a gentleman's agreement on a contract with Micah Parsons. Micah thought that was not at all what had happened. He then tells the Cowboys, from that point on, I need you to converse with my agent. He even said this during like a podcast or an interview or something like that. He said all negotiations, I think it was actually, he said it on Twitter. I think he tweeted, all negotiations will go through my agent. From that point on, apparently the Cowboys have just refused to talk to Micah or his agent. Neither one. There has not been a single offer sent his way, he said. Jerry Jones also was talking about what the contract negotiations with Micah have been like, and unpromptedly said, well, it's tough because, we want to pay him this money, but he only played 12 games last year, which wasn't true. He played like 13 or 14. Micah, of course, takes exception to that and says, I got injured laying my body on the line for my teammates and for the organization. How do you not appreciate that? Micah also said that Jerry and the Cowboys have been spreading different narratives about him. He said that he no longer feels valued there. He no longer feels wanted, and he wants to move on to a new home. Let's take a quick look at Micah's stats here, because Micah has been a beast since he entered the NFL. 13 sacks as a rookie, and I don't think he became a full-time edge rusher until like halfway through the year. Yeah, must not have been, because he had 84 tackles that year, which is a ton for an edge rusher. Would assume he's got some linebacker in there. His next year, 13 and a half sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. His next year, 14 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. And then last year, only 12 sacks, but he only played 13 games. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, Jerry had said Micah had missed 6 games, and Micah had missed 4. That's what it was. So last year is his lowest sack output at 12, but on a per game basis, it's his most productive year. It's basically a sack per game. He also had 2 forced fumbles. Micah is a beast. I mean, this guy is top 3, top 5 in defensive player of the year odds every single year. Has he made first team All-Pro? Let's see. I got to go. Wikipedia, surprisingly, is great for this stuff, like player accolades and things of that nature. Okay, so in 21, he was the defensive rookie of the year. He also made first team All-Pro as a rookie. He then made it again in 22. He was second team in 23. Last year, because of the injuries, naturally he didn't make it, but he has been a Pro Bowler all 4 years of his career in the NFL. And then you go back to college and like he's Big Ten linebacker of the year, first team All Big Ten, freshman All-American, et cetera, et cetera. Micah Parsons doesn't really need much of an introduction. Matter of fact, what did he do? I want to pull up his game stats for what he did against the Commanders. 2.5 sacks in the Week 18 game against the Commanders. I definitely remember that. And then 2 sacks in the November game. So 4.5 sacks. And look, the Commanders' offensive line wasn't the best in the world. They did get away with, I think, raising their floor with the no-huddle tempo that they used. But it's not just that Micah spotted an easy matchup, because they had other easy teams on the line. They did play the Panthers, and to his credit, he had 2 sacks. He did play the Bengals, who had struggles at offensive line. He did play the Texans, who had struggles at offensive line. He played the Saints. He played the Browns. But his 2 greatest outputs of the season were in the 2 games against the Commanders. He also had 2 sacks against the Eagles, who have an incredible offensive line. So this tells me that he gets up for those big games. And like I mentioned 5-10 minutes ago, however long I've been rambling now, what's the best way to get revenge on the Cowboys? Go play for their arch rival. Now, with me saying that, two things. Number one, he could very well take that same approach, go play for the Eagles, and that would just be a horror show because I don't know how any team would win the Super Bowl for the next 2 to 3 years. Also, the Commanders cannot trade for him. It doesn't matter what they offer the Cowboys. I genuinely believe that if the Commanders offered Jaden Daniels for Micah Parsons straight up, the Cowboys would say no. Because I don't think they would ever trade with the Commanders for a star player like that. And obviously, the Commanders not trading Jaden. Like, don't read into what I just said. Just using it as an example. The way that the Commanders could potentially get Micah is going to have to be in free agency. Now, again, with me saying that, the Cowboys, just like the Commanders have Terry McLaurin by the balls, the Cowboys have Micah Parsons by the balls. Because if they don't agree to a contract, well, screw you, Micah. We're going to franchise tag you. And then we're going to franchise tag you again. They can do the exclusive tag so nobody can come in for him. They can do the non-exclusive tag where if a team does sign him, well, then they immediately owe 2 first-round picks to the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is probably worth more than 2 first-round picks, so that would be a steal, and I don't think they'll do that. If the Commanders have a hope of getting Micah, it's probably going to be in free agency before the 2028 season, and that's still 3 years away from now, so a lot of things can change by then. But here's one thing we do know about Micah Parsons, and this is why the thumbnail says what it says. Micah Parsons loves Dan Quinn. I don't know how many times he has to say it. He said it without being asked about it during the NFL Top 100 segment on Frankie Louvu. Louvu was like 72 or something like that. And, they get 2 or 3 people to talk about the player. Usually it's a teammate. Usually it's a rival. Usually it's somebody they played against that year. And Micah Parsons is supposed to be talking about Frankie Louvu. And instead he says, that Dan Quinn system, I miss those days. Direct quote. Dan Quinn system, I miss those days. How about at Fanatics Fest? This is from Kay Adams. She was talking to Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant, obviously a massive Commanders fan. She says, why don't you try to recruit Micah Parsons? What do you think of Micah Parsons? KD says, I think he's going to be a Commander in 2 years from now. What does Micah Parsons say? I rock with Dan Quinn. He loves the guy. And I'm sure that if the Atlanta Falcons come to Micah and say, hey, we'll offer you $42 million a year, and they put a great trade package together, I'm sure the Cowboys are going to have to consider it. And there's no way Micah gets on the Commanders again for at least another 3 years, in my humble opinion. But with that being said, why don't we just check out the salary cap for next year? Why not? Like, what if Micah just goes scorched earth and makes it so uncomfortable for the Cowboys? He's ripping them on his podcast. He's not showing up to games. He's doing everything he can to force a stink. And he gets to free agency next year. The Commanders are 5th in the NFL in cap space. They will have about $74 million free to spend. The Terry McLaurin stuff is going to play a huge part in that. But if we're being completely honest, if a genie came down and said, what is your wish, Adam Peters? And Adam Peters said for Micah Parsons to become an unrestricted free agent next year. And the genie said, okay, I guarantee you that's going to happen. If you've got a 30-year-old Terry McLaurin who wants to make $30 million a year, and you've got a 26-year-old Micah Parsons who wants to make $40 million a year, 100 times out of 100, the money's going to Micah. The Micah's going to Micah. Listen to me. The money is going to Micah Parsons. $40 million is going to be the number for Micah, I'm going to assume. He's making $24 million this year after the club option. The 5th-year option was triggered, like I mentioned earlier. If he does get to free agency by the grace of God or the Cowboys' general stupidity, TJ Watt's making $41 million a year. Myles Garrett's making $40 million a year. Max Crosby's right under those guys, I do believe. He might be at 35. I feel like the Myles Garrett was a big jump. I could be wrong. Point being, TJ Watt is the top dog there. He's making $41 million a year. If the Commanders have the chance to negotiate with him, is it possible that they could get him to like 37, 38? Yeah, maybe. But at that point, like, just go all in, especially if you do have that much cap space, the $74 million, and you can guarantee that superstar takeover edge rusher. That's another thing. What have the Commanders fans, and what do the Commanders know that they've needed for these last couple of years? The edge rusher. And if Micah's on the market, Lord have mercy. Dan Quinn gets in his ear, says, hey, Micah, I need you. Let's go win a Super Bowl. There's bad blood between him and the Cowboys. There's a possibility it could happen. I don't think it will, but there is absolutely a possibility. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really hope that you did enjoy. One final time, I am so overwhelmed and so humbled by all the support that I've gotten on the channel. You guys have just made my entire week. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, we are building a very fast-growing community, and I love and appreciate all feedback. So please hit the subscribe button, jump down to the comments, let me know what you think about general direction the channel's going in. What do you think about Micah Parsons and this trade request? What do you think about the new stadium? Hit the like button if you did enjoy the video, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.